This is based off a game called Team Fortress 2. The event was unknown, and I am still haunted by this event.
It was a nice Thursday. Walking home from school, I remembered I was drop. It was drop day. The day when the drop system starts giving item. When the drop system starts. So I got on my computer and started idling. I was a crazy thing to idle. It never worked nowadays, but I do it anyway. Later in the game, I received one refined metal as a drop item. Boy, I was shocked because everyone knows Valve didn't add refined metals to the drop system, but I didn't care. I got something interesting for once. How could my day get any better? Thought because I had 2 refined in my backpack. The possibilities are endless, I told myself. I carefully took the refined out and put it on the craft table. I was so excited to finally craft my first hat. Wishing myself luck, I clicked the collect button and waited when I finished with an agonizing shriek that made my heart skip a beat. The prompt wasn't the same as it was before. Instead of saying, crafting succeeded, it was backwards. I was confused. I just thought it was a bug. This couldn't be been hacked, I thought, because for one, it's an online game from an official company. Then the screen flickered for a split second, and the item was displayed. I didn't even have to click the OK button. It showed a mining light. People considered it a bad hat. I didn't care about that. When I noticed was the engineer. He was more gloomy. His shirt was extremely darker, and his eyes were glowing red. The thing that got me the most was the crafting number, the devil's number. I think that was a little creepy, considering the fact that the internet looks demonic. The hat itself wasn't too bad. I equipped it to my engineer. Once I equipped the hat, the screen flickered again. And that's when I thought the game was being hacked, as the engineer had the most disturbing grin I've ever seen, and his shirt was more darker. I couldn't believe my eyes. What the hell was going on? I dropped the game for the day and went to bed. The next morning, I went to get ready for school, and I didn't forget about what happened yesterday, so I was going to tell my friends about what happened. I spread the rumor about what happened to the game. Most people at my school didn't play TF2, so they didn't really care. I got to my friends and told them about what happened. They were shocked to hear about this, because at the moment, one of them was asking to meet me at their house tonight to show them. That night, I put on my jacket and told my parents I was going to a friend's house for a visit. They told me to be back by 9 p.m. I said okay and left. My friend invited me in. He led me to his game computer. It was complex to me because the keyboard was split in half. But I didn't think that was a problem. I was a fast typer anyway. My friend told me to show him the hat, and I looked over it very carefully. My friend was an expert at programming at the moment. He said it was normal. Lots of items had the craft number 666. Then I told him about the engineer. He was disturbed to hear that because he told me to kindly leave. I was upset to be kicked out so early. I headed home only to find this nightmare to be much worse. I got on my computer and played some TF2. I picked engineer and started playing like most people did. I had fun because some of my friends were on the same server with me. And I started getting more disturbing like the map was slowly turning red and the screen was blurring, and then my teammates slowly died off. Eventually I was the only one left. The blue team was just sitting there, looking at me. I was their worst nightmare. One tried to shoot at me, and it did nothing. I tried to move, but the keyboard took control of everything. I was just sitting there, watching my character slaughter everyone. Every person I killed left. The engineer eventually was the only one left on the server. I sat there watching him, and then the most high-pitched scream I've ever heard crashed the game. I couldn't play anymore. I was scared. How could Valve allow this to happen? I went to bed. I was playing TF2 again, but I was Spy. I played as usual. I came across an Engie with his buildings, and as I got closer with my sapper, the background became more blurred and darker. And the world paused. I couldn't move. The engineer slowly turned around with the same disturbing details I saw in my character at loadout. I was horrified, unable to comprehend what was going to happen next, and just stared at the screen with my eyes filled with fear. He walked towards me with a devilish grin on his bloody face. He ripped off my arms holding the sapper, and blood started to spray everywhere. Then the engineer told me, "Now just stop trying to mess with my contraptions, Nick." I was screaming. I couldn't bear the pain. Without effort, he punched a hole through my chest and ripped out my heart. I was seeing my life flash with my very eyes. I fell to the ground. I was dying. For the very first time, I felt like it was over. I looked up and his eyes were on fire, laughing at my failure. I woke up with a sweat everywhere. It was my nightmare first nightmare in over 5 years. I immediately got on my computer and started TF2, and I deleted the hat. Never to find those accursed happenings again. I thought it was over, then I heard a clank at my window. I looked out to find a man sitting there. He looked up and waved at me. Then he disappeared with no trace. I quit TF2 ever since, and still have nightmares of the engineers slaughtering me every night.